Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net and shareholder of Helis and Matheson. Not that I'm sure that has anything to do with this video. Anyway, you are getting a second video today because I made a video earlier about Sinemia getting sued for basically pulling a bait and switch on consumers with their Sinemia thing where they're tacking on fees now. Now, admittingly, I was a little snooty in that video. I mean, it makes for great entertainment, and yeah, there's a part of me who it's like, guys, it's still objectively a great deal. Like, if the math doesn't work out for you, then frankly, just quit. That's what I want to say. But some people did make some very good points, and so rather than just ignore them, we're going to talk about those points. We are definitely going to talk about those points because I think they are worth discussing. And in some cases, you might find that I might have been a little wrong, maybe even a lot wrong. It happens. I'm sorry. That's why I make follow-up videos. I don't take down old videos. But anyway, let's talk about, there's two things we need to discuss. The first thing is the terms of service, because I told people, like, guys, they can change these terms if they want. You might not like it, but they're allowed to do it. You agree to it. And people started pointing out, no, in the terms of service, it said that it would not change. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure they wrote something in there that said that they could change it. And I even kind of looked into my terms of service, couldn't find anything. Granted, terms of services are so long. Well, one of the viewers did point out an old ToS Sinemia had, and they pulled up on the Wayback Machine, which is what you're seeing here. Now, if you've never heard of the Wayback Machine, it's a great site. If there's any website you remember browsing as a kid or back then that you remember but it's not on the air anymore, look for it in the Wayback Machine. You might actually be able to find it. I've even found old websites that I worked on. Someone, okay, that's a Postmates thing, never mind. So let's look at that. Now, this person was very helpful because, as you can see, there's a lot here in the terms and conditions, but it's under 4. So let's go to 4 and let's go to 4.3, because this is the paragraph that supports what I claim, and it also supports what you guys claim too, believe it or not. So here's what it says. Sinemia may make changes to any products or services offered on the site or to the applicable prices for any such products or services anytime without prior notice. Sinemia reserves the right to change the rules of movie-going attendance and ticket availability to members at any time. Sound familiar? That sounds a lot like MoviePass. And there it is, black and white. They have the right to change the terms. However, what else does it say? Let's continue. You will be notified of any changes made to the terms of service prior to your next billing cycle. Sinemia will not make any changes to your plan mid-cycle. All changes will be in effect at the start of your next billing cycle. Okay, now we also have that your plans will not change, and to a lot of people, oh boy, tacking fees on, that is changing in mid-cycle. Or is it? Here, see, that's the thing, and I'm not a lawyer, so I actually don't know, because this creates a very interesting conundrum for me. It says at the beginning that they can make those changes. Then in the middle it says they will not make changes without priorly notifying you, and it will not happen until after the billing cycle. But what is the billing cycle in the legal sense, and what is the billing cycle to them? You see, to me, the billing cycle is I give you money, and the next time I have to give you money, that's the new billing cycle. They might do it in a way where the billing cycle actually happens in the middle of your subscription, which would certainly be dishonest. Maybe not legally so, but morally it would be dishonest. Now, there is one more aspect on this in this little paragraph. This is a very dynamite paragraph, by the way. The materials on the site with respect to products and services may be out of date, and Sinemia makes no commitment to update the materials on the site with respect to such products and services. So they're even saying, we're not even going to attempt to keep up the website up to date with the products and services, and we have no obligation to. That is, I've never read that in a terms of service before. And I read a lot of terms of service because I like to know what I'm agreeing to before I sign up for it. But that is a very, very shaky thing to put in there. That's almost like saying we are going to deliberately deceive you. That might get them more in trouble with the bait and switch thing because that's advertising something that you might not even be getting. And I do think that is illegal. But therein lies right there, the first 2 points. They can make changes if they want. And the second one is they will not change anything depending on the billing cycle. And I just don't know what a billing cycle looks like to Sinemia. Now, for the one that's probably the most damning thing in there is that they will notify you. A lot of people have claimed they have not been notified of the changes. Me, I was notified of the changes. I got a notification on the app saying we are no longer using the card. It's all going to be cardless. But because of the change, we are waiving the Sinemia fees for the next 90 days. So, you know, that was nice of them. Some people might not have been notified. You would have to prove that. Now, can you prove it? Who knows? That's up to whoever's doing the lawsuit to actually do that. Now then, let's switch over here to a user comment because I liked this. Now, interestingly, a couple people did the math for what the Sinemia plan is actually worth. I did have a screenshot of one guy, even though he was frankly a jerk, but then this guy did a calculation. It's like, okay, he's a little bit nicer about it, so we'll highlight him. And he said, guys, here's the math based on max 4 tickets a month, 2 movies per month for 2 people. Initial fees, $191.88 plus $9.99 equals $201.87. Now, it should be noted, well, actually, I'll say that for later. Convenience fees for the year, $1.50 for tickets equals $72 per year. Processing fees, $1.80 is $86.40 per year. Total out-of-pocket per year is $360.27. Amount paid per ticket based on 48 tickets used in a year is $7.50 a ticket. Now, the other guy who did the math, his math came up to $11.71 per ticket. So, you know, I guess it kind of just depends on what your tickets cost. And that guy did it on my math. Now, he says, let me know if the processing convenience fees are not per ticket, rather per transaction, and I'll adjust the numbers. No, it is per ticket. Whereas I don't know if you want me to show your last names, so that's why I'm blocking it out. But yeah, that sounds pretty solid to me. Now, there are a couple things we have to keep in mind. And that's that this is all there's some variables in there that, of course, the numbers don't always show. First of all, that $9.99 activation, I was pretty sure that you avoided paying that if you paid for the year up front. At least that's what I thought. That's how it seemed to always be for me. I even know that because my brother went to subscribe to it and found this activation fee, and they said, or you could pay a year up front and avoid the activation fee, and because he's got money, he just paid for the year up front and avoided paying a $20 activation fee. Although now it's $10, so maybe you just have to pay that one way or the other. Who knows? It's been a while since I've signed up, and I never had to pay an activation fee. As for the convenience fees, there are ways you can get around those. If you go to AMC and Cinemark, those are the easiest ones to get around. There are even some ways you can avoid the Regal convenience fees if you go through their website directly. So there are ways to avoid those fees as well. So that might not even be a factor. As for the processing fees, yeah, you can't get around them. But here's the other thing. We are talking about basic tickets right now. Keep in mind, most of the Sinemia plans let you see 3D and IMAX movies. I don't understand why this never seems to come up. Whenever it starts coming up with whether or not, well, are you getting your money's worth, people start bringing up like, oh, well, you know, on Monday and Tuesday it's $5 and the matinees are this. It's like, guys, why do you think they're so cheap on those days? It's because most people don't go to the movies on those days or those times. They have work. They can't do that stuff. And so, as a result, they are cheap. They are absolutely cheap. If you can go to those times, then you know what, great. Maybe a subscription card is not what you need. Heck, it doesn't even matter what subscription. If you can go and you just go on $5 Tuesdays, maybe AMC, Sinemia, Movie Pass, doesn't matter. None of them are worth it. But most people don't have that luxury. Thus, that's not a factor. You have to assume they're going to only be able to go to the primetime showings. But here's another thing. What about IMAX? What about 4DX? What about 3D? If you start using it, then the Sinemia processing fees seem really cheap. Just so you know, how did I use Sinemia this month? Well, I got 2 tickets for Bohemian Rhapsody in IMAX. That was $45. And assuming that Sinemia was charging me for the convenience fees, that would have been like, let's see here, $3. That would have been a little under $6 for both the tickets. And the second movie I saw was Nutcracker and the Four Realms in 4DX. That was a $54 2-ticket purchase. That would have been another less than $6 if I paid the convenience fees, but I didn't. So that would have been $12. The third one was Castle in the Sky. $14 each, 2D. Did not pay the convenience fees. If I did, another $6. So $18 on top of $38.99 per month. That's what I paid. Now, on the surface, it's like, well, that doesn't sound like you're saving much, but if I bought these tickets individually, I would have spent well over $100. So, yeah, Sinemia is still that's a little, you gotta love those spam texts interrupting my videos. But you can use Sinemia to your fullest capacity. You don't have to see just 2D movies. Well, unless you get one of those really cheap plans, then yeah, you do. So there are ways to get around and make it more lucrative to you. So the two things we talked about. First of all, is Sinemia going to win this lawsuit? I don't know. Again, you go back here. It depends on what they consider a billing cycle and whether or not they can legally defend that position. Or if people can prove that Sinemia did not notify them of these changes, which might be difficult to do. It really might be difficult to do that. And as for whether or not it's still worth it for the convenience, you know what? You got to do your math. This guy pointed out he figured $7.50 per ticket. I think that's a big savings for a lot of people if you're paying the average ticket of $12.50. Of course, if you're in Idaho and the average ticket is $9, well, maybe that's not much of a savings for you. Who knows? But are you seeing IMAX and 4DX movies? Well, then it's definitely a savings for you. And again, this other guy whose comment I won't share because he was kind of a jerk, he showed that the tickets were $11.71. You know what? I'd have a hard time justifying it if that was the numbers I was coming up with. But my numbers, I am getting way more out of it than I'm putting into it. And then, of course, the other comment that someone's sharing, dude, they're going the same way as MoviePass, get out, commit to AMC. You know what? We're going to talk about AMC tomorrow. I'm going to make that video right after this one. But in the meantime, does this clear up some things? Sorry for the misinformation I gave in the last video, but as always, I want to hear your thoughts, so comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly. And as always, flame responsibly. Your comment might show up in the video. Have a good one.